I found out my 31 male, ex-wife, 27 female, cheated on me while she was pregnant. Last year, while she was 6 months pregnant, I, 31 male, discovered that my now ex-wife, 27 female, had been cheating on me. The affairs occurred both before and after the pregnancy. She had reasons and excuses for not getting a divorce. She wanted to be together and have couples counseling. I advised her to go ahead and receive treatment, but infidelity was a deal breaker for me, so we divorced. She moved back in with her parents, who had ample space to build up a nursery, and gave my ex the guest room since the home was mine when we married. My wife has our daughter Sunday, Wednesday, and the original plan was for her to drop her off at daycare on Wednesday morning, and my nanny would pick her up around noon and bring her back to my house, where my daughter would stay with me until Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending on what worked best for everyone. Then my ex stated she feared the daycare was misplacing some of the items she was bringing in for her to bring to my house, since our daughter had come home a few times without certain bottles or her binky. So ex stated she wanted to drop our kid off at our home straight to ensure that all of her belongings arrived at my place. So she began bringing her up from daycare and dropped her off here during her breaks. On Wednesdays and Fridays, I work from home. Nonetheless, I'm working. It was usually about 12:30 when ex started dropping Nadine down at my place. Since I was in my office working, my daughter's nanny, lovely elderly woman from Barbados, not sure of her age but I'd estimate late 50s, 60s, was the one to open the door for my ex and remove my daughter and her belongings. When she arrived, ex said that she wanted to meet with me personally. She felt like she was dumping a lot on the nanny and didn't want her to forget to tell me anything, she said. I'd be lying if I claimed I didn't have animosity and hate against my ex. But I don't want my daughter to see that, so when I speak to my ex, I try to be as emotionally equal as possible, just talking about topics that are relevant to my daughter and nothing else. Nadine had a dirty diaper during today's drop-off, so her nanny brought her upstairs to change her. When my ex inquired how I was, I told her I was fine and thanked her before beginning to go back to my office. She sees herself out, she used to live there. You know, I'm getting really sick of your nonsense, she says as I walk away. I didn't even get a chance to ask her what she was on about before she began flipping out, screaming I was emotionally manipulating her by being cold and aloof, that she shouldn't be punished eternally for her sins, and that hating her is the same as hating my kid. I let her finish ranting before telling her to go. I believe my best option is to avoid further interaction with her and to stop seeing her for drop-offs. But I was hoping to get some other viewpoints or ideas on the subject from you if you have any. Edit. I took a paternity test after discovering she cheated, and my baby is mine. Update. The thing I have to constantly telling myself is that the unpleasant and betrayed sentiments I have for my ex-wife will most likely dissipate in 5 or 10 years, but a hostile relationship between the two of us would have a long-term effect on our daughter. As a result, I met down with my ex-wife and take to talk regarding our predicament. I was really honest and forthright with her. I informed her that although I still had bad sentiments for her as my ex-wife, as the mother of my kid, I would always treat her civilly and politely, but that we needed to set limits. I informed her that we're going back to our original plan of dropping her off at daycare in the mornings and having my nanny pick her up in the afternoons. We'll convey which products should be delivered home with her through the internet, so the nanny can double-check that she has everything. My ex-wife isn't pleased. I believe she came to my home in the hopes of reconciling, but I informed her gently, but unequivocally, that it was never going to happen, but I would want to see our relationship blossom as fantastic co-parents of a lovely young girl, and maybe one day, friends. Story 2. Some I picked up since finding out my, now ex-wife was cheating on me. Background. Earlier this year, I discovered that my wife had been unfaithful to me. We had been married for less than 6 months, but had been dating for almost 6.5 years. I'm in my early, or perhaps mid-30s, and she's 2.5 years my junior. We met in graduate school and had been living together for over 4 years when I found out. When I say just shy of, we had already re-signed the lease, even though she was cheating on me already at that point. Some people. The divorce was completed around 6 weeks ago, but getting a court date took a long time. I understand that not everything said here will apply to everyone. We didn't have any children, didn't own a house, and we're just starting to combine our money. So, as my lawyer put it, it was really simple to relax on a legal level. I understand that if things don't apply to you, my counsel probably won't either. Anyway, here's some nonsense I've learned about myself and all that, as well as some advice I'd like to provide. Get a therapist if at all feasible. I understand that not everyone can afford or trusts a therapist. I had some difficulty with this since my ex was a therapist. Still, if at all feasible, get one. A lot of what she said is quite obvious, but it's incredibly useful to have someone else say it, and it's extremely affirming. Some of it even included having me develop a list of things I enjoy about myself or things I want to accomplish that I couldn't do previously. Some of it is having someone to tell me about my day and provide criticism. I know I'm paying my therapy, but it's still very affirming to me as compared to my friends and family members who have been great but have to like me. It's incredibly wonderful to have a stranger tell me I'm not crazy for having these ideas. On top of that, I was journaling for a time, which was quite beneficial. I was able to have mean-spirited, furious thoughts and get them out without having to dwell over them. I still odd now and again, but less often. A lot of stuff is variations on the subject. What about having it as an outlet helped me concentrate a little better and be able to appreciate things instead of always being furious. If you're like me and lose a lot of sleep after you learn about the infidelity, put it to good use. That may be Duolingo. Perhaps it's watching TV. I spent a lot of my restless mornings and evenings removing images of my ex from my phone, Google Photos, and other places so I wouldn't have to view them by mistake. I also organized all of our trip photos and other items in one folder on my computer so it won't be a surprise. Make time for yourself. You may watch any TV you want. You should read a book. You can go to bed whenever you choose. Change everything your ex has gotten in the way of. You're going to be altering your routine anyhow, so why not attempt to do it in a positive manner that enhances your life? Or, at the very least, doesn't muck things up any worse. See below. Perhaps you might seek advice from your therapist. Don't go too hard on your vices. It may assist temporarily, but not in the long run. You're not stupid for not knowing. Don't berate yourself. My ex was having an affair with a colleague. She seemed to be working late a lot, but she said that she was receiving more hours and sounded pleased about it. For weeks, if not months, she flat out lied to my face. We had visited my parents and her parents the week before I discovered out and chatted about our postponed honeymoon, future plans to purchase a home, and so on. Cheaters will lie, and expecting the best of your spouse does not make you you'll never know certain things, and you can only worry over them so much. My ex said it had just been a month or two, but she'd been chatting to this employee prior to that. I want to believe that, but I'll never know whether it's genuine or if she cheated in the prior 6 years. I've had enough of driving myself insane about it. Be kind with yourself. Recognize that you love your ex for a variety of reasons. That's okay. When I met my ex, I was a heavy drinker. Sober was her name. I was able to keep my drinking under control and to a minimum due primarily to her, since I felt obligated to do so in order for us to remain together. I'm not sure it would have occurred otherwise. To be honest, it was a nice thing that came about as a consequence of our connection. There's probably not much else I'll acknowledge that about, but this I will, and you may have some as well. Liking a vacation, appreciating a meal your ex made you eat, and so on. Some things may cause you to get too emotional at random. I burst into tears in the midst of the day when listening to Olivia Rodrigo's Driver's License. I believe that worried my mother a little since I was residing with my parents at the time. That has generally ceased at this time, but I still encounter things that remind me of my ex and think to myself, what a jerk, and try to move on with my father. Do it right now. You have a lot of life ahead of you, no matter how old you are. It has the potential to be excellent. Do the things your ex was preventing you from doing or don't. I'm not your mother. Cook meals they didn't like, listen to music they didn't like, and so on. You still have a lot of living to do. Enjoy the nonsense you don't have to do as well. My ex-in-laws might be tough, but I don't have to see them anymore. Yay! Owner IT. I've been quite upfront with everyone in my life and have gotten nothing except encouragement. I understand that based on your employment, this may not be feasible for you. But if at all possible, don't feel humiliated that a jerk did something bad to you. That is their fault, not yours. That's all I've got. Best wishes for the holidays and please take care of yourself.